welcome to a new vlog and video of the cruise vibes, and today we're going to take a look at the ferries of Red Funnel and Red Jet. We are going from Southampton to Cowes and back, and here on the map you can see our route today. We are starting in Southampton. We're taking the regular ferry from Southampton to East Coast. Our ferry today is the Red Osprey, and here we can see her arriving at the terminal in Southampton, where I arrived in my last video with the AIDA Nova. Here we can see the terminal building for the regular ferries. Inside there is a ticket counter where you can buy tickets last minute. You can of course buy them online as well, and a small shop. And now we're heading to the boarding area. There is also a nice map of the Isle of Wight where you can already see what you could do on the island. There are quite a few sites. Isle of Wight is very beautiful. Here's also a ticket machine where you can buy some tickets as well, and now we're heading on board. Here on this deck we have the car deck, so we're going up one deck by stairs, and up there we are now on the B deck, and here we have public areas. On the right side we have one of the saloons. Here you can sit down and enjoy the view. In the middle we have the cafeteria where you can get some drinks, snacks, and also a few souvenirs can be bought here. Now we're heading to the other side of the ship. There is another saloon where you can also sit down and enjoy the view with quite comfortable seating. And there is also another deck, the A deck, going up the stairs here. And here on the A deck we have two more saloons. Here we have another saloon with its own bar and also some nice views. And on the other side we have the Signature Lounge. For the Signature Lounge you need to pay extra, but then you get some included drinks and snacks, and you have a more comfortable area to sit with a nice view. So I decided to make a reservation here at the Signature Lounge. It's not that expensive, so if you're planning on drinking something, it can be already worth it. Here we just saw the Red Kestrel, which is the freight ferry, and here in the background we can see the AIDA Nova. We're now leaving Southampton, heading for East Coast. You can take another look of the AIDA Nova, and now we're heading out, going through the Solent to the Isle of Wight. Our ship today is the Red Osprey. She was built in 1994, is one of 3 ships of the Raptor class. The ship is 93 meters long, 17.5 meters wide, can take up to 895 passengers and 220 cars. In 2003 she was lengthened by 9.6 meters, and in 2015 she underwent a refurbishment. Together with her 2 sister ships, one of which we can see here, traveling in the opposite direction, she's operating for Red Funnel on the important Southampton Cowes route. Red Funnel is only the trading name of the company. The official name is Southampton, Isle of Wight and South of England Royal Mail Steam Packet Company Limited, but as this is a quite long name, they just went by Red Funnel, named after their iconic red funnel. Here we can see a Red Jet ferry. This is also part of Red Funnel. Those are the catamarans, the fast ferries for passengers, and we will take one of those on our way back to Southampton later on. We're also going past a very big oil terminal, and here we can take a look at the menu, which is completely complimentary. All those snacks are already included, and what I really like as a German person is that here in the UK you still get bottles where you can take off the cap, and due to EU laws the cap nowadays can't be removed from the bottle and you will always put it in your eye or somewhere. It's really annoying, so I really enjoyed having a normal bottle of water here. Here we are approaching Cowes. Cowes is departed into East Coast, and Cowes with a big ferry we are stopping at East Coast, which is not where the city center is located. That is on the other side of the river, so we have to take a small ferry later on to go into the city center of Cowes. But first we'll take a look at East Coast. Here we are approaching. We can see it from the Signature Lounge, and I was allowed to stay seated as long as the ferry is moving. Only once we docked we were asked to go to the exit. Here we just saw a shipyard where we also saw a ship that is usually sailing on the River Thames. And here I'm leaving the ship. It was a very nice sailing on the Red Osprey, also with a nice crew on board. And we are now on the Isle of Wight, and we're gonna take a look at East Coast first. At the moment we had a low tide and I was walking along the coastline. There are just a few sites here at this part of the island. For example, you can see some palm trees as we have the influence of the Gulf Stream here, and there's also a propeller of the HMS Cavalier as a monument here. And here we can see one of the fast ferries again going into the port of Cowes, and we can also take a look at our ship, the Red Osprey, heading back to Southampton. These are double-ended ferries, which means she doesn't have to turn around and she can just going back in the other direction. I was then walking through the housing areas of East Coast, where you can also see some interesting and beautiful buildings. Sometimes I even felt like I was in the Caribbean due to palm trees and very interesting architecture. And then we have to take the floating bridge to get over to Cowes. This is a new ferry, has been replaced not too long ago, and it's a quite big ferry. The length of the ferry is already a quarter of the whole distance, and it is a chain ferry that is not too reliable apparently, and also quite noisy, so it faces a lot of criticism. And now we can listen to the sound of the ferry because it actually is pretty loud and that can be bothersome. So here we can listen to the sound of the floating bridge. And I can really understand the criticism about the noises. On my crossing there was a dog on board, and this poor dog was very afraid of these loud noises from the chains. So I can really understand why this type of ferry faces criticism. I then walk into the city center of Cowes, which is extremely beautiful. There are a lot of nice shops, also some small shops with interesting products, some cafes. It is a nice atmosphere, so I can highly recommend going there. It's a nice day excursion from Southampton. Also, if you're arriving there by cruise ship, take the fast ferry. It takes only 25 minutes and you're here in Cowes and you can enjoy a wonderful and beautiful city. I then went to the Red Jet terminal. Right in front of it there's a cafe where I enjoyed a cup of coffee, and then as soon as the ferry arrived I walked into the terminal building and could walk straight on board of the ferry. There are two of those catamarans, Red Jet 6 and Red Jet 7, in service. Here we can see the interior. Of course, it comes with a bit less features like the big ferry, but it comes with comfortable seating and a small cafeteria on board. As you can see, seat pitch is quite nice and the seats are very comfortable. Of course, they have to be quite soft, the seats, because sometimes there are hard movements because of waves, so it still remains comfortable. There are also power sockets available, as well as cup holders and armrests. Here we can see the Red Osprey arriving again, and now we can listen to the sound of the catamaran when it's going full speed. The ships are 41 meters long, almost 11 meters wide, and they are usually traveling at a speed of 38 knots, which is 70 kilometers per hour or 44 miles per hour, and the maximum speed is 42 knots, which is 78 kilometers per hour, 48 miles per hour. As you can see, the ships are moving if there are some waves. Usually a catamaran moves less than a regular ship, but of course at a speed of 70 kilometers per hour there are a few movements, but due to the soft seats you don't feel it that much. It is a quite comfortable ride and it only takes 25 minutes to go from the city center of Cowes to the city center of Southampton. So if you want to do an excursion to the Isle of Wight, I would recommend taking the Red Jet service, as you are saving 30 minutes per direction. Of course it's a bit more expensive than the regular ferry, but if you don't want to spend your whole day there, I would recommend taking the Red Jet service, as long as you are traveling on foot, of course, as this is a foot passenger ferry only. But also I enjoyed my journey with the Red Osprey, so what I did was also very nice to take the slow ferry on the way there and the fast ferry back. So whatever you decide on, I can highly recommend traveling with Red Funnel to the Isle of Wight. Here we can take another look at the interior of the ferry. That was luckily quite empty when I was traveling on it, because there are of course more seats in the middle of the ferry than window seats, but I was lucky to get a window seat as the ferry was not quite full. Here we are back at Southampton, and that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Here you can see when the next video will be uploaded and the name of the song. As always, I'd like to say thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to comment, like, subscribe or share the video link, and I hope to see you in my next video then.